Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the live show. And Nvidia had some earnings. It looked like it was green. It sounds like they did pretty well. And we have to see what the market's going to do after that bad boy because it was up. I mean, I was watching this thing right after the market closed in the after hours. It was jumping around so crazy. It was wild. And we'll see. It did close around 131.28. It kept running up and hitting that 50 right there at 134. It could not bust through it, and it's sitting on that MACD. I'll tell you what it's looking like right now after the market closed, after the earnings, and it's sitting at 129.25. So it did pull back and it's sitting right on that MACD line. I mean, they just left it up for tomorrow morning to see how it wants to open. It is kind of in that channel. It's a little bit below the 20, but I will say the 20's curling up just a hair and maybe enough to get it pushed up tomorrow. RSI is curled up there, so it doesn't look terrible. We'll go through the rest of everything, see what they all look like, and try to figure it out for tomorrow. But what an interesting day it was for sure. And the video was up all day, and I think we kind of knew it was going to be running around, and then we just didn't know what the earnings would be. So that's what we got, exactly that. So here we go. All information presented here is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as financial advice. So always do your due diligence. I hope everybody did have a great day. And again, it was one of them crazy days. Things were pretty green. Apple had been the one that's been up lately. It was red. Google was down a little, and Tesla just keeps going down. And Walmart was down. There was a bunch of stuff down, but Nvidia was up. And let's take a look and see what's going on. Let's see. OCEA. Let's bust through this list and we'll go through our SPY and all them guys real quick and see what the market's going to bring us tomorrow for Thursday after them the video earnings. So here we go, OCEA, and this thing was just kind of pulling back a tiny bit, but getting to be in that right spot, guys. And it might pull back a little bit more. Maybe it's a next week or before it really gets to that spot where it needs to be. So I'll keep an eye on it tomorrow. Obviously, it didn't pop up today, and we are watching it because it's still in a good spot. And again, you have to be super, super patient with these things, extremely patient, to be honest with you. And just when you thought they were just setting up, you have to be a little more patient because they pull back some more. It's been every single one. It hasn't even been just penny stocks at this moment. Look at crypto just getting destroyed. I mean, Solana's at what, 136? Bitcoin's at like 84,000 right now, and Ethereum's at 2,300 something. And yeah, they're just getting destroyed, knocked down. But again, it's going to be great opportunities, and this is where people will make a ton of money. And obviously, you see the fear put into people. There is no fear here. You know that. It's wait for the bottom, take the buy-in opportunity. They will run the all-time highs. You know that in a few months, and we're always 3 months early. So I'm telling you, in about 3 months from now, when they're at all-time highs, you'll be wanting to get out of them, and everybody else will be trying to buy them at that point while they're chasing it, and you're already locking in your profits, sitting back, relaxing, and just doing a couple trades here and there, waiting for that next big dip because that's where you make your money, guys, when these things dip like this and people are afraid to get involved in them, and then they just get involved way too late. So when you're early to the party, it always works out for you. And again, you can play around, not play around, but you pick the ones that you love and that you're confident in, and you just ride them up as they go. So you know we're going to be nailing these things left and right. I mean, we basically knew it was coming down, and we'll now I'm going up. Let's look at Holo. It was down a little bit more, ran up the other day, and we'll see if tomorrow it actually wants to get rolling. You could tell it was pulling back a little bit, and it is kind of curling back right there to the MACD line, and the 20 still over it. But like I say, once they get over it, they want to bounce off a couple times. It's just a matter of how much they want to roll off that MACD. But they do want to just the opposite of when they're under it and they hit it and come down 3 times. So that's what you're looking at for your pattern for the most part. We've gone over it, but again, Holo is over it, and it's coming up and hitting that MACD line probably for the second time right now because when it crossed through, it kind of rode the line and popped up. So now, I mean, call it one or two, but it's right there. So I think it will try to get curled up right there. So we will keep an eye on HOLO, good old Holo, and LR. HC, let's see what that was doing. It was up just a hair today. And again, it might have to wait. I think the market kind of screwed this one because it was set up perfectly. I'm not going to lie. And now it might wait for that 20, which is at 29 cents right now because it just kind of went flat across through and it wanted to run the other day. And it just obviously couldn't while everything was getting beat on. So I think we're going to have to wait for this one, maybe just a few more days, next week possibly, just to get set back up a little bit better, and then we'll see how it wants to run. But it is down here at the bottom. I don't see it going back in the basement. Another one, it curled through. So even if it comes down, it should bounce right off that MACD and look decent there. And how about our buddy S dot was down today, and it did run up yesterday pretty well. I think today might have been just some healthy pullback, but I'd have to look at it tomorrow because it does have that look where it could kind of pull back. I don't know though, because it is looking good with that 20 rolling up to that 50 right there. So I would have to say it looks pretty decent, and maybe it was a little healthy pullback just to that 50 right there. 333 to 351. It closed at 344. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but yesterday it got up to 356. And again, it does not look too bad. And even if it pulls back, it looks like it's going to get really set up there. So that's that static group right there, SDOT. So we've been keeping an eye on that. And BYON, Beyond Inc. Let's look at it. It was pulling back a little bit today. Actually pulled back a lot more than a little, like 68 cents. It is coming down. They just had them earnings the other day. What was it? 2 days ago. And BYON, let's see, it is pulling back to that 50 right here. We'll see if it can stop itself. It may actually be pulling back now. It did have that nice run up. It didn't look bad either, but now it does look like it's going to pull back. I'll see though. I'll look tomorrow, see if it wants to stick itself on that 50 right there where it's at, and then try to cruise up. But it was a pretty good dip there, and it does look like it might want to come down lower for BYON. So I will take a look at that. BURU. Let's see what Nubaru's up to right here. It's been trying to curl up. Today it wasn't looking bad. I know that it wasn't running anywhere, but it was just kind of moving a little bit. Let me see the numbers here. 22 to 26 and its low is 21, but it closed at that 25. Like I said, it wasn't looking bad at all for BURU Nubaru, and it's trying to hit that 20 right now and cross through. I would look at it tomorrow, guys, at BURU. We've been watching this thing and it's been looking pretty good, and I would see tomorrow it can get through and get moving there for BURU. And let's look at AIM, good old AIM right here. And this one's trying to curl through, guys, and looking much better. Remember, we've been talking about this guy, and it has like all kinds of partnerships or doing stuff. Yesterday, today they announced something. AIM announces New York Stock Exchange American acceptance of plan to regain listing compliance right there. So there you go. And I think they appointed some other dude to the board of directors as an independent director right there. And then yesterday they were doing something with a study with Ampligen and infamazine or something for some combination therapy for pancreatic cancer. And then they had that other thing going on with AstraZeneca. So apparently they got all kinds of stuff going on, this company right here, AIM, and it is AIM Immunotech. And like I said, it is curled up there and hitting that MACD line. We'll see it. It rolled up to that 20. It could have just popped up on that compliance news right there. And we'll definitely look at it tomorrow to see if it can get through. If it can get through, guys, we've been watching this bad boy. We know it's getting set up right here around like 19, 20 cents, and it's going to want to pop. So they definitely have some good stuff in the works. You can see it, AIM. So keep an eye on that because it is trying to aim up right there. And OCGN, this was looking better the other day. And let's see, they do have earnings coming up next week. So it is on March 5th, which is what day is that? Wednesday? Yeah, it's like next Wednesday it is. It looks like it wants to curl off the basement. Today could have been its bottom when it ran down here at that 60 cents. It's back at 61. And like we were saying, OCGN, it was pulling back, but I do think it's going to get set up and possibly after these earnings, maybe that's when you're going to see it run up and maybe change direction on this chart. I feel like it's going to. Feel like it's going to start. It was been running down here. I feel like it might want to run up. So we'll keep an eye on it. We've been watching. It's just one that we'll add to the list and just keep an eye because I really do. We've been talking about it and it's kind of been doing that. Now it pulled back, wait for the earnings, let it shoot up there, get back up over. I think it gets set up actually. These lines will kind of meet up, but back up into that 70 cent area and it'll look much better for OCGN. So we'll look at it and see, but it has been pulling back, and like I said, I think it's going to change directions. SYRS, that's at Syros Pharmaceuticals, and it did dip down yesterday, and it does look a little better today. It is one of them ones that is crossed through, and yeah, it's trying to bounce off right there. So watch this one too for a little roll off, and they might not run like crazy right now, but you do catch these pop-ups and then they do hit these like 20s or the 50. You just got to pay attention to whatever you get into and not over trade right now, guys, because if you're trying to trade too many, you're going to get pretty much beat up because they're just all over the place. I've realized when they're really volatile and crazy like this, you really want to be patient and stick to them, stick to one, and that's about it. Maybe a penny stock and then maybe like a big cap if you want to do that, but you got to be really, really careful with these guys. And sometimes you just got to lay off the market and not push trades. If you're trying to force them, you're going to get beat up on them. So I obviously wasn't even doing anything today, just watching the market, doing some other stuff, honestly, getting some work done. And I was paying attention to everything I knew, but I wasn't going to force any trades. You kind of knew Nvidia was going to go up today, but I didn't even play that. I was just like, it's got its earnings today. Just let it go. I don't have to trade every single day. You just got to make sure you make the right trades. And yeah, I'd rather see what it's really going to do and then make the right trade instead of trying to force these. You see these penny stocks really pulling back right now like crazy and really dipping and ripping. So kind of keeping an eye if I see anything really dipping there during the day, maybe take a look at it and be like, whoa, that's definitely the bottom. And maybe it just jumps up that day because you see them pull hit that real close bot or that really far down bottom. And then they run back up that day and maybe just a quick one there. But yeah, you got to be really, really careful and catch these exact bottoms. So if you're not really paying attention, try not to force anything. Don't try not to. Definitely don't force anything because, I mean, you never want to force anything, but especially in a market like this because it's just all over the place and you really have to focus. Like Nvidia is holding up the market. We still don't even know what the heck it's doing. So and it's been volatile. And like we said Sunday night, it was going to be one of them weeks where you just didn't really know. It might not, it might be a pullback week. And you just got to pay attention to things, catch these bottoms, best opportunities, and that's what you do right there. So let's keep on rolling, but just giving you a heads up, don't try to force these trades when you know like you're not in a great position or it's in a great position and you really like it. So just a little heads up right there because they're a little bit crazy and they're tough, but you do want to know what's going on. There are so many great opportunities. You just have to stay patient. And again, don't force them. Don't jump into things too early. That's all. Clue. This one actually, somebody gave me a heads up. I had no idea. I didn't even see it today, but they just announced I guess, share consolidation, call it a reverse split, whatever you want to call it. I was going to say reverse split, but it says share consolidation, and that's going to be effective March 3rd. So might want to look at that bad boy and see it wanted to run and then now they're going to pull this stuff, so you might not want to be in it. It did have that compliance not long ago in January and now all of a sudden they're doing this and it did curl through and never, maybe it tries to run up tomorrow. I mean, it's crossed through, looks decent, and at the bottom right now today does look like that bottom dip on Clue. So I mean, it's looked like it for 10 days, but it crossed through and actually does look like it. So keep an eye on it. And if it runs up, you might definitely want to get out of that because they are doing something on March 3rd, which is on Monday. So tomorrow's Thursday. So you basically have tomorrow and Friday. and then it will be splitting or doing something, whatever I said it was doing there. Um, Share consolidation. It's basically the same thing, just different wordage, I guess. I don't know if they're the exact same thing, but to my mind, that's the same damn thing to me. And anyway, so that's going to be our clue, CLEU. And didn't I mean it's about to run right now, but when they announce that, and that's the problem with these things again, they look great, and then all of a sudden they pull back, and then they're announcing reverse splits and all kinds of nonsense. We've talked about it before, so you definitely have to be careful. And these China ones, especially, that's why if you play them very small, and then you just like I said, they're wild ones. So you got to be really careful with these things. We knew LICN was going up. This one happened to pull back. Most of them we got right, and we'll see. This one could bounce tomorrow. So definitely keep an eye on this bad boy in the morning, CLEU, especially after they announced that news. And LICN, let's see. And we were just talking about it, and it was just kind of bouncing around today. It ran up the other day, and it's just flat in the basement. I mean, these things at any moment can announce them reverse splits or anything. This one is trying to get back over that 20 though, so it went what 7 to 8. It closed around what 8? I think it's at 7.5. Yeah. So it's at like 7.5, but it's in a pretty good spot right there, LICN. So keep an eye on that one and make sure you're paying attention to Clue tomorrow because it could pop up. And regardless, you got to pay attention to it because of that share or whatever. I keep wanting to say reverse, but I'll just say reverse split. It's easier. And so yeah, whatever they call it on Monday, reverse split something, and so share something. And so yeah, keep an eye on that one for the next day or so and play that accordingly as well. And UPS was down. It's over that 20. I think it might be just some healthy pullback right here. And that is UPS, and we've been watching it kind of, and it didn't even really. I think it kind of went up from yesterday, to be honest with you. Let me see. It does look like it because yesterday it topped out at 118.34. Today 118.57. So yeah, it's at 116.99 right now, but it doesn't look terrible. And that's UPS. It's been slowly just kind of moving its way up there. And good old Elf, this one was down $1. It ran up the other day. And again, even these things you got to be fast with. It isn't just the penny stocks, guys. It's everything. They all have that same pattern. It's a funky, weird market right now. That's for sure. It's pretty jacked up. And I don't think anybody expected it to be like this a month into Trump being in office. Obviously, it was getting crazy and running up there. And now every day it's just something else crazy, like a tariff talk or this or that. And like I was saying before, it's so many overreactions and big reactions that the market's just getting all wild. So you gotta let some dust settle and just, like I said, pick and choose them real carefully and just play one carefully and or even just play like the spy or something like that that you just know you can play easily. And they may not run like 100% right now, or you may not be hitting 100%ers nonstop. They will run, but again, you don't even need to hit them. You just have to hit the smart trade, and that's all you need to do. And sometimes we have to remind all of ourselves that important knowledge because I'm telling you, it's very important to think that way. That you don't need to hit these huge poppers. You can easily make money on 2, 3 percenters each day because you're trading them smart. You see them better, and it's a little easier. And again, them small ones, yeah, they can run big, but is it at 4 a.m. before 7 a.m.? So you gotta like weigh your options. And again, your style of trading, you got to adapt to you. But right now, you got to be really smart. I mean, we can usually juggle around with no problem, but you have to be real careful because they're giving you mixed looks and things are a little wild. Definitely pulling back, big dips and rips. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to keep you guys from over trading and getting jammed up because the one thing you do want to have, you want to have some cash on the side to be able to run into these bad boys when they hit the bottom, especially the good ones that you like. So, like when a Tesla hits the bottom or something like that, you know it's going to run up pretty significantly. you want to be able to get into them and load them up because you know you're going to make some good profits on it. So you got to think ahead and be smart instead of trying to trade the. It's almost like that meme coin nonsense. People trying to jump into these fast ones where you already knew the rug was getting pulled. Why even bother losing your coins? And people were doing it for weeks there until I guess they either ran out of coins or finally wised up. But yeah, I'm telling you, people were just transferring out their coins from good ones and then getting into these other ones and losing like all their like half their coins like within 10 minutes and then going, oh shit, and then trying to transfer back and now you got half the amount that you just left with. And yeah, it was crazy, guys. We pointed it out. So you just don't want to be trading and jumping into everything. LMT, Lockheed Martin pulled back like $7, ran up to that. And I'm telling you, these things are hitting these 20s and they just can't get through. It's almost everything with that, too. So another thing to look at is once they hit like a 20, a trend line, or anything, they literally stop. I'm not saying that they won't go up the next day, but they definitely stop dead in their tracks. And if you had Lockheed Martin options, and yesterday it ran up to that 451, and now it's at 441, that's a big difference. So, yeah, you run it up there, you get out, and then today you can reallocate what you wanted to do. So you do have to play these things accordingly and pretty much daily. So you can't be just buying them and running away from them. I'm telling you, the timing's all screwed up. Everything, even options are tough right now. So, like I said, you just got to trade really smart, focus on them good ones, and we nail them. I mean, we pick them all out. You just can't run around and do like 100 penny stocks and all kinds of craziness right now. As you can tell, it's wild. Advanced auto parts, look at it, pull back on them earnings. Remember, we talked about it running up. It certainly did that yesterday. And then today, it just came crashing down. It was down like $8. I guess their earnings must have been in the morning. But yeah, it just came way down today. I was looking at it and I was like, whoa, that one didn't do so well, huh? But it went what 42.81 up to 44.98, and then it came down to 37.05. It's at 37.80 right now, so it's pretty far down there. And another one that did that one, and maybe even one or two hitting the MACD. This was another curl up and another big bounce down. So yeah, it's pretty much all of them. I think we might even talked about that the other day, just saying like, hey, it only bounced up there once. This is the third time, so make sure you're paying attention because they're like three or four times. So. And here you go. This was pretty much the second, third time right there. So that's Advanced Auto Parts ran up the other day. Nice dip opportunity. Came all the way down to the support line, way down here. So I would say keep your eye on that one, and I'll definitely watch it. AAP. And how about that TTD? Even that pulled back. I was looking at it today because I was like, oh, maybe this will be a good one to trade because it was trying to set up, and I knew it will jump around, but maybe it'll get that bounce up. And nope, it was pulling back a little bit. So we'll have to see. And again, it's not pulling back to that bottom. That bottom's down here at 70.44, but it is at 72.18 and it wasn't ready. So this is probably going to be a next weeker as it gets curled up there and it's in the basement, but definitely one we're going to keep an eye on, TTD. And that's at Trade Desk. I think that one's going to be setting up the run, just not ready at the moment. And that Thermo Fisher TMO, it kind of ran a little bit, I think, at one point today. Let me look and see what these numbers say. I just looked over. It said it ran in the after hours. It says it went up in the after hours. So I got to see what happened here. It opened at 542 and it went up to 543 and it came down to 528. This says it closed at 533. Where's this at? This says it's at 541 on FinViz and says it did close at that 533. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you, if someone knows what TMO is really at, because like I said, this one's FinViz is saying it went up in the after hours, and mine's not saying that, and usually it would. So I have no idea, but I was looking at it today and it was down. I know that. So I was wondering what the heck it was going to do, but there you go. And I don't even think it had earnings. No, it didn't have earnings. I didn't see that. So yeah, TMO, we'll keep an eye on that one. And CNSP, that was up 6 cents. We looked at it last night and this is at CNS Pharmaceuticals, and it's way down there. I think yesterday could have been its bottom at 224. It's in the two almost 250 right now. So keep an eye on that CNSP because that one, like I said, I think did bottom out. And again, these things do have some time to curl up here. It is trying to curl up, but you know it very well. It could take a nice dip at any moment and come right back down to that bottom. So like I'm saying, play them accordingly. Look at these charts, check them out. I mean, it's always fun to look. It's always great to look at the charts and pay attention to them. It's not a waste of time ever, because guess what? You're always learning, especially like a time like this, guys. I'm not gonna lie, you'll learn more in these crazy times than you'll ever learn because you just start seeing things because it speeds up or slows down or gets weird, and uh, and that's when you can really start picking patterns apart and really like getting into it. So don't think that you're wasting your time ever looking at them. Look how many we look at every night. I don't mind it at all. I think I'm just sharpening my skills, and I look at it like like a chef. Just keep that chef knife nice and sharp every single day, and that's the sharpest tool that you want. So. Um, that's how I look at it. And these penny stocks and some of these other ones are the perfect thing to basically practice on. So that's what we kind of do. And yeah, it's, you know, like I say, we have like the greatest paper trading list, but we also have the greatest watch list ever. And then you can pick out the 100%ers. We do it. We pick them out. We pick out the big caps. Right now it's slow. So again, you just kind of sit back. You do some studying and learn these things. And then when the market starts to bottom out there and gets good, you're like, oh, now this is my place to be. And let's now get into it and run them up. So, like I'm saying, just be careful, but it's not a waste of time ever to be looking at them. So I don't want you to think like, oh man, they're not moving around and this and that. This does it all the time, guys. And you have to have these areas where it shakes things out, comes down. You hear me say it all the time. If it was always green, the market couldn't work. You have to have these dips, and these are the opportunities where you really make money. So I've told you this time and time again, and I think every time it dips down or has a dip, does it not always go back to its like all-time highs? So just think about it in 3 months from now. Everybody will forget that this thing was even down here. It'll be all the way up. They'll probably be giving out them checks, and Trump will have this thing pumped up for summertime, and it'll be running like a maniac. So that's what I see happening here. And, I try to look at the future of it. So, yeah, I just find it as a great opportunity. So, just look at them. And again, they could be pulling back this week and a few days here, but look at the ones you like. We'll be picking them out, obviously, when they start moving up and getting ready to rock and roll. That True Golf was at like 47, 48 cents. It's just in that channel. It came up, hit that 50 at 51 cents. It could come down to that 44 tomorrow, guys, but don't be too alarmed because it's again in the channel and that 20 is going to move up and then it'll start to move. And I think like everything almost has like a week almost in it to get the dust to settle at this point. But it's not a bad thing, like I keep telling you, because you get these great opportunities, spots that you just couldn't buy these things at before, and now you can. So they're definitely great chances. I mean, look at Bitcoin, for example, at like 85,000. It was just at 100,000. People were just buying it up there. So if you weren't involved, and now it's at 85, I'm pretty sure it's going back up over 100, guys. So, and you can see that they're all hitting down at the 30s. They're bringing them all down on purpose for whatever reason. People are buying these things up and they're going to run them up. So just telling you what I see. And that's the cycle that happens all the time. And this UOKA, guys, you better keep an eye on it because remember we were talking about it starting to move. It does look really good for, I think it was moving today a little bit, but it does look really good for tomorrow. Actually, it might have came down 17 to 15, and it's at 16 something. Where's it at? A little over 16 cents. Telling you, it looks really good. It's just that one that keeps popping up there and spiking up all the time. And it does look like it's in a really good spot right there. So Keep an eye on that UOKA because I'm going to be keeping an eye on that tomorrow. I definitely like that. Riley was running back up, guys, 148. And this thing, watch it in the morning. It could be another momentum play. We were early on this boat, and good old B Riley Financial. And now it is running up. It went 411 to 634. It's at 581, and it looks like it could continue to run up there. So keep an eye on good old Riley right there to have some momentum in the morning. And how about that CYCU? That one's an exciting one right here. It just keeps pulling back. It was down another 9 cents, I think, today. I mean, I don't know if it really pulled back even lower than it did yesterday, but it definitely was pulling back at some point. It might have. What was yesterday's low? 70 and today's low was 76. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't as low as yesterday, but it was pulling back and I think we're going to start getting that curl up. Maybe that bottoms in right here, but I don't think it's just going to blast off. I think we have until at least next week for CYCU, and we already know that they take their time and it's kind of flat and it's going to start curling up. Could just pop off at any moment, but I don't think it's going to do it. So that is your CYCU. And again, I think you got your bottom finally, and we've been watching that one. How about ADTX? It's trying to curl back up right here. Let's see. It doesn't want to go back in the basement. It was in there for so long. It's like, do not put me back in that dungeon, guys, please. So this thing is trying to crawl off that MACD. And again, this came down once. This is the second time it's trying to curl up there. And it'll probably try to do it a third time. So ADTX looks like it does want to run up. Your 20 is right at about 9.5 cents, a little over that. So it should run up to that area. I mean, it should get through it the way it's curling up there, but obviously we'll look at it when it hits that 20 because everything's been a little wild. And that's your ADTX right there. And CHSN, that Chanson International, that's been in the basement and just pulling back like crazy. This is one of them China small caps, and it finally looks like that based out from yesterday's bottom. So that 21 cents does look like it's bottom. It might be at about 23, 24 right now. Let me take a look. And it is a little over 23. And yeah, I think yesterday could have been that bottom right there. It did get down to like 22 today, but not as low as yesterday's 21 area. So that is your CHSN. We've been watching that pull back, and we'll keep an eye on it just to make sure it is the bottom there. And then that could be a great opportunity because, I mean, like when these things pull back like this and then they hit that bottom and curl up, they're all great opportunities, but you just have to make sure you get out of them pretty quick and not look for every one of them to run like over 100% or even to 100%. They're not all going to do it. You just have to catch them bounces. Right now, they're hitting the 20s and bouncing back. They are great opportunities, but you just got to trade them smart. So you got to have the right mindset if you're going into these bad boys as well. That LITM, that thing has this crazy look down here, guys. This thing, I believe, is trying to get set up. It is at Canada, other industrial metals and mining right here, LITM, Snow Lake Resources. And I think they said that Zelensky's coming over to sign that minerals deal or something. So we're about to get all the minerals from Ukraine to help pay back what we gave them. And so yeah, apparently, and I guess it is a great point that Trump made. He said, "Hey, you make that deal, guess what? It just protects your country because when our workers are over there." No one in hell's going over to mess with you, and he'll make sure of that. So there you go. You just bought yourself protection, didn't you? And that's what they basically were trying to find anyway. And so Trump gave it to them, but it cost them money. And instead of just giving them money and then like Zelensky said, he didn't even see half of the all the billions of dollars that were supposed to be going over there. He doesn't even know where half of it went. So I guess it really was it really doing that good if half of it goes missing? And so yeah, Trump's like, well, you know what? We'll get our money back. And not only that, you guys will get protection. So there you go. It'll win for both of us. So yeah, that's going to happen. So you're going to see, and we obviously need all them resources and metals to run all this AI mining, like AI stuff is just out of control. And like he was explaining, I mean, you need this stuff for all these chips and all this nonsense. So it definitely works out for us and it'll work out for them. So I'd say it's a pretty good deal. Like I always say, a deal always works out well when it benefits both parties. Well, it's going to benefit both parties. And there you go. So LITM looking pretty good right here. And it is one of them, like I said, mining and metals company in Canada, and he was talking about them and saying, you know, if we didn't fund their their defense, they wouldn't even be able to survive. Like we just give them like $200 million every year just so that they can operate. Like it's crazy. Like we just hand out money to every country, and then you and I, everybody else on on this call, just hitting there going, what the fuck is going on right now? Like I'm killing myself. We're trying to trade stocks like maniacs just to make some money and, you know, have a little extra money in retirement. And these fuck nuts are just stealing everything. So it's insane what goes on. And so yeah, that's basically what's happening. So we'll see what goes on with Canada too. But like I said, this LITM looks good. And just telling you what was happening. I was listening to that press conference today or whatever it was, the cabinet meeting, press conference. It was a cabinet meeting, the first one. So ASBP, here we go. And I was listening to the NVIDIA call, but I'm telling you, I don't even know what the guy's saying half the time. Some of these calls, you don't even understand the people, and then they start telling you the numbers and stuff, and then you're just like kind of lost because you don't even following along. And then so I was listening; it sounded good, but again, I was like, I don't even know what they're talking about right now, and I had my little guy there, so it was a little tough to listen to exactly what they were saying, but it did sound good. But again, I don't think it really matters what they even say at this point for earnings. I don't think it matters one way or the other. It all depends on where it's at on the chart. So it doesn't. It's just another number and something for people to talk about. And obviously, you have to have earnings. They are important. You got to see the numbers and make sure companies are. That's what the charts are going to base off of. But I don't think necessarily the earnings play is smart because it's so hard unless you're actually looking at that chart and basing it off of that and not necessarily if they're going to beat earnings or not. I don't really think that matters one way or the other, to be completely honest with you. And that's just my opinion, obviously, but it looks like that. And I was never an earnings person before, and I still obviously aren't. I didn't even look at them before. At least now we pay attention because we do all these big caps and we know what's going on. I was more penny stocks before and, you know, just them quick swings, but I enjoy doing all this. I love the whole market now. I think it's so much fun and especially like just pivoting around. I mean, I've always pivoted and did bigger things, but never, like I said, I taught myself the options and just doing different things now. And then we have the crypto goes crazy and everything else. And obviously it's down, but made play. Honestly, I was telling my buddy, my Coinbase is still up over 20%. So everyone's getting slaughtered and my account's still way up. And yeah, it's just you pick the right things and we've talked about the exact ones to do. And obviously Solana did pull back, but guess what? We were talking about it down here. So you're pretty much even if you didn't sell it up in the 200s. And and yeah, Bitcoin, I was getting that cheap, so I already had that. And yeah, some of my things like Ripple, I had way down there, like 50 cents and cheaper. So I have these things super, super cheap. And I did, I obviously scout out of some of the positions because you see them pulling back and then you just reallocate and do it again. But yeah, it's like I didn't have all these crazy altcoins that people were trying to get into. And that's what my buddy did last time. He had like 25 coins and they all happened to just run like crazy, just different percentages. Like it was wild. And yeah, they made tons of freaking money, but I didn't think that was gonna happen this time. And they were trying to do it, and I was like telling my buddy, I'm like, I don't know if that's such a good idea, dude. Just which one do you like best? Solana, that's what I like. Let's load up on it. And Bitcoin, you know, is going up, so buy it while it's down. And then yeah, I told a story today. I don't know if you guys were on. Zach hopped on, and I was on there at the very end of the day. I just saw him hop on, so I was on, and I told a story. I'll tell you guys real quick too. I don't know if my buddy is on here or not, because I told him I was gonna. I told him I'd already told the story, but I told him I'd tell you this today. This is the greatest story ever. You want to talk about crypto and maniacs, and this is an ETF 500 story right here. You guys are gonna love it, and then we'll cruise right through the rest of the market and see what's going on. But guys, this is the best story ever. It's so funny. So it was about 3 weeks ago. I could tell you if I looked at the chart exactly when it was. So ETF was teetering around a penny at this point, right? And it was they were all pulling back. So my buddy, like I said, he's got a lot of ETF 500. He buys a lot. Like he doesn't mess around. He's made a lot of money doing it. So he they don't like I said, these guys are on like a whole nother planet, and I get it. Like I trade with them, so I understand it completely. And yeah, you put a bunch of money in the right things, and you make a fortune. It's nuts, guys. So yeah, they'll load up on the right things. Don't get me wrong. So he gets really obviously telling him about ETF 500. We trade together, so he's buying a bunch, and then so he already had like over 1 million coins, guys. He's already like way over 1 million coins like 3 weeks ago. It's teetering around a penny. He calls me up at like early in the morning. It's like 8 a.m. or so, and it was on the weekend. I'll never forget. We were cracking up. We were talking about the story. I kind of forgot about it, and we were laughing about it today. We were dying laughing. It was the best. So he called me up early in the morning, and he goes, dude, he's like, I was up all morning or all night. I mean, he goes, dude, I was up all night, just buying ETF. He's like, that thing just kept wanting to go under a penny, and I would just buy some more and buy some more. And he's like, dude, I like kept it up over a penny. I'm like, dude, you realize you were just like trading against bots all night? He's like, what? He goes, and I'm like, yeah, dude, like you're basically trading against like bots for the most part. There are some people trading, but these bots get in and they're not as heavy in the ETF 500 because a lot of the supply is locked up. So it messes up their algorithm. They don't want to get into something like that because they can't manipulate it. So it's not really picking up, but they'll get in. Little bots will get in here and there and just mess with it a little bit, but they'll be like small buys in and out. You can see, I can tell which ones they are. I look at it. So I'm like, you realize that there's like a bunch of bots just like buying and selling. And this is when they started really getting crazy with them. And so he's like, what, dude, you think so? And I'm like, yeah. So I started showing him. He's like, are you fucking serious, dude? I'm not even kidding, guys. This is gonna blow your fucking minds. He bought up like $27,000 worth of ETF 500 that night. He's like so happy he kept it up over a penny. I'm like, I think you're the only person that ever beat the bots, dude. And so yeah, we crack up laughing. But guys, you're talking, dude bought $27,000 worth of it. Like it was no big deal. So you're talking, I'm telling you, people buy a lot. So you got to understand when like you're buying like 100, 500, even $1,000 worth, which is still a lot. There's guys buying 20 some $1,000 in one night. Like it's no big deal, guys. So you got to understand the logistics of how these things work. And yeah, that's why this coin, you got guys like that like believe in Zach and they're not selling it. And they know what this thing's going to do because a lot of them, a bunch of these people were part of Farcoin when he blew that up and they made a bunch of money. So now they're like, shit, we're going to do this again. And this is what goes on. So you got to understand the back end. But yeah, I was just, we were dying laughing today. I was talking to my buddy, and I don't even know how it came up, but he was just like, yeah, remember that night? I was just like, holy shit, I forgot all about that. But yeah, it's just the funniest thing. That dude was up all night just buying and buying ETF, thinking that he's going to keep this thing running forever. And it was just like one night he's battling the bots, and it cost him like $27,000. But he beat the bots. I'm not gonna lie. He kept it up over a penny that night. He was so proud of himself. So there you go, $27,000 worth of ETF 500, and yeah, that was like that's only a portion of what he owns. So again, people own a lot of coins and things like that. They get real heavy into these things, and I know quite a few people that do it. Trust me. So I definitely get it. And yeah, they make a fortune. I'm telling you, in like 3 months, that amount of coins, this dude will make a fucking fortune, and it'll be insane. And people will be like, "Holy shit! Remember I was telling you that? Yeah, you guys are gonna remember the story. I'll tell you how much he makes." And yeah, and like guys like Zach, they'll make a bunch of money, but Zach holds on to the majority. He did it with Farcoin too, and he was talking about it today at the end today's show. So yeah, he'll scale out. You have to. You have like freaking 60 million coins. What the hell are you gonna do with all of it? If you don't, then what are you gonna do? Just sit there and watch it go up and down? But I mean, if he sells a million here, a million there, a couple million here and there, and just scales out of it, it literally doesn't even affect the price at all. And everybody can continue to make money. He has it figured out, guys. He knows what he's talking about and doing. So yeah, my buddy's even buying. So he bought that much that day, and he's buying even more. So why it's down. So I'm just telling you, and I've been loading up on it while it's down. I told you guys I am. There's only I only have a few things, and they're things that I feel strong about that I know. You don't know anything. Let's put it that way. We're talking about risk and investments, but when you're confident, and I've been doing it a pretty damn long time. When you're confident in a chart and what they can do and things are going to do it, yeah, you go in with it, and that's how you make your money. And so, just a fast story, but just hilarious. And we were laughing our asses off today about it. So yeah, if you ever felt like you bought a bunch of crypto one day and then it went down, my buddy bought 27K in one night, like it was no big deal, and he was just fighting bots, thinking that he was trading against people. So people are definitely crazy, and he's got a buddy that even trades even crazier than him, and he's in this one group with these like multi millionaires, and these fucking guys are insane. And you want to talk about like buying a lot? These dudes are buying like 100K worth of like altcoins, like it's no big deal. So I'm telling you guys, it's freaking crazy what goes on. And so you got to understand, like, that kind of money is the money that's fluctuating things and moving things around and actually doing things. And it's the money that matters because you're talking about a lot of money. So if you're playing with a small amount and it's getting fluctuated like this or anything, you know what's going on. And you really just got to sit back and either say, well, I can try to play these bounces and make a little bit of money and not look at this like I'm going to make a fortune off a small amount, because these guys that got a ton of money in it, they're the guys that are going to make money. They're going to make sure they make money. They're putting up huge risks. So they get it too. They've done it before. They understand how it works. So I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up. And like I said, and again, you can see some people that understand crypto and made tons of money. They're buying a bunch of ETF 500 too. So it's not just me that thinks it's good. It's a few other people I know that, like I said, have made a ton of money in crypto. I mean, tons and tons of fucking money. It's insane the amounts of money that people can make in this thing if you play it right. We know a ton of people that are way down because they bought a crazy amount of these altcoins and they just got smashed down. But yeah, if you had loaded up on Solana at the bottoms when we were talking about it, and all these the good like Sol and not Doge and Sol and Ripple and Bitcoin, when we knew that they were going to be moving, you're perfectly fine. And like I said, you could have scaled out, took your profits, and been loading up again, or you came back down to zero, like even, and you're gonna just go back up and play it smart next time. So just telling you what's going on with crypto, and don't be afraid. And again, when people are in fear, you know what Warren Buffett's doing. He's sitting on a big pile of cash. I'm sure he's buying some shit up. So he's waiting for it to bottom out first, and then he'll be buying some shit up. So here we go. Let's just rock and roll right through. Just thought I'd tell you, it's a funny story. And so yeah, if you're down a couple bucks, just remember my buddy bought 27K worth of crypto ETF 500 in one night. In one night. So I just sat there all night buying it in like 5,000, $2,000 increments. I mean, and that's a crazy guy, dude. So like just yeah, you got people like that all over the place. And like I said, this dude's wealthy as hell. And yeah, I mean, it's just the way they do it. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta put that risk out there, and if you're confident on things, you're gonna make it back and then some. So and tenfolds. But ASBP, let's get rocking and rolling here. Enough of the stories. This thing's way at the bottom, guy. I'm just staring at this thing, ASBP. And holy cow, it is way down there. I am going to watch this thing tomorrow because I feel like it definitely wants to start moving back up at least. It might not be fast, but it is going to get set up right there. So let's keep an eye on that ASBP and that DGLY. Let's look at that bad boy. We've been looking at it for a few days, that digital ally. And that's in the basement, just running flat. It is curled up though. It isn't looking bad. Let me take a better look at it over here. DGLY. I mean, it's just sitting there. Yesterday it ran up to that 12, but it pulled back to 9. And then today it was just at like 9. Did it even move? Yeah, it's definitely moved. It doesn't even look like it did anything today. It's kind of weird. You gotta look at that and say something's up and it might want to pop up there. So I'll take a look at this DGLY just from that one candle alone today just gives me that weird look. And my buddy's listening. My buddy's is listening. So awesome. He just texted me. That's great. He said he's laughing. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the best story, guys. So like I said, 27K one night just on ETF 500. Like it was no big deal. Just and like I said, he's just buying it every hour or here and here. He's like, oh, it was dipping on. It was trying to get under a penny. So I just bought like another $1,000 and it jumped right back up. And then I was sitting there and then all of a sudden, like all these cells come in. I'm like, yeah, dude, they were bots. And that's how I started looking at the things, the Texan things. And I was like, yeah, they were a bunch of bots. There was a few people trading it, don't get me wrong. But there are bots get into it. But I think my buddy locked up enough of the supply on his own, along with like the guys like Zach and his couple buddies, I guess, from the beginning that because I'm sure my buddy's in the top now of holders. I know he has to be. He's got a ton of it, and so yeah, he might have locked up enough supply right there to keep the bots away for the most part. Because honestly, it's been staying pretty steady as you see crypto getting crushed here. So you know it once these things start moving up, that thing's going to go flying, and so yeah, it's definitely going to be a good one. I can tell you that. And like I said, it's probably going to be one of the best coins you'll ever see. I think he's going to make it bigger than what he did with Farcoin because he didn't have the Farcoin wasn't his. He told the story. So there you go with that. And my buddy is listening, laughing his ass off. So yeah, I'm telling you, we were dying laughing today, talking to each other about 27K. So just you got to have fun and have entertainment with it too, guys. I mean, it is crazy, big risks and craziness, but just understand what people are really doing out there. People are getting crazy, and then you got like, these like your hedge funds and institutions and all these other things. And I got like prop shops and all kinds of other shit going on. You got all kinds of stuff trading around with crazy amounts of money all over the place. So you just have to put that in perspective and realize what's going on. And sometimes when they dip, like the other day, you had a bunch of institutions just start really selling off Bitcoin and stuff. You knew it was coming down. You could see the chart; it was coming down after that. And yeah, they're going to control it for sure. So just giving you guys a heads up. And sometimes when we're bottom fish because we don't have that much, sometimes you just gotta keep yourself up the stream and keep going, and you don't really have much say in it, but you can stay afloat and make money in it. You're just not making money like these guys are, and they're fluctuating the market, they're making it move, and they're doing things that you can't even, it's beyond belief because they know, like I said, they understand that, they get how it works, and they have the money to do it too. And they're not afraid to put that kind of money up. So, yeah, I mean, dude, you go out and buy a car, he's buying ETF 500. So, I mean, it's just, you put it in perspective to people. It's like, holy shit, that's crazy. And to us, it's just like, it was just another night of trading for him. So, just a wild story, guys, but just something to keep in perspective too. I think like I said, we were laughing, but I think about it like, you know what? It's a great story to tell because it gives you guys an insight of what really goes on. I mean, most people don't understand that shit's going on all the time. It's just not my buddy clearly doing it. There's people doing it 10 times more than him and on a 10 times bigger scale. So there's a lot of crazy shit going on with a lot of big money that fluctuates a lot of crazy things. So you just got to understand that. And that's ETF 500. So just imagine like anything else, like you're talking like Solana and things like that, and even the markets. That's how these things fluctuate. And that's how Portnoy's killing people because he puts in some money, these things get a market cap, they run up, people run up all their money into it, and then all of a sudden he sells it all. It's done. They can't even sell it at that point. And then yeah, it just he just pulls the rug on people, and that's really technically it's illegal, honestly, because And I'll explain the reason why. Someone was arguing with me online. So, Reddy, this is the reason why you can't do things like that. And I've always said pump and dump is not a word, is not a term. What he's doing is not pumping and dumping. What he's doing, he's literally created a security. He created one, right? He created greed and greed two, created these securities, and then talked them up for to his audience for 10 minutes. Yeah, he might have said they might go to zero. That doesn't matter. Talked them up. But at the end of the day, he put money into it. He ran them up. He also profited like almost $250,000 over 100 and some thousand. I don't know. It was between like 150 and $250,000, whatever. And he takes that, but then he puts it in he says, I put it in the jowl stool, so I didn't make anything. The fuck are you talking about, dude? You just made a profit and no one gives a fuck where you put it. So you explain that to the jury. You made a coin named Greed. You ran it up in less than 10 minutes. You made $250,000, rugged a shit ton of people that they have proof of. And then you took the profits and put it in something called Joustle. And just because you don't own it and that doesn't mean you didn't make profits. Like I don't fucking understand. Is he like out of his mind? I don't get it. And so yeah, it's definitely illegal what he did. And I heard Rogan said something about it. I'm telling you, it's illegal what he did. You can pump and dump if you want, because again, you can be like, yo, this thing's at 3 cents, it's going up. I love it, and it goes up. And then yeah, no one knows when you're going. He didn't do that. He created a fucking security and ran it up and pulled the rug. It is a pumping. It's illegal what he did, and it doesn't matter if it's a meme coin or whatever. They will go after him. Watch. You'll get attorneys that will definitely go after him, and they could get the government to go after him for it. So that's why it's 100% illegal. So you got to understand that there is legality issues in this, in any kind of securities or trading or anything that's going to make money. There's legality issues. You got to understand them. And clearly he's a degenerate gambler, so I guess he doesn't get it. I don't know, but he acts like he didn't make any profit. I'm like, what is he talking about? You definitely made profit. No one cared that you put it in jowl stool. You are going to be a jowl stool. So that's that. And here we go. A lot of talking tonight. But yeah, that's what happened. And that's why I keep saying he 100% did something illegal. And he did 100% do something illegal. So there you go. And Fubo, that has earnings on the 28th, and that looks like it's actually going to pull back. It was trying to set up, and it doesn't look like it's setting up so much today. So again, being patient with them because it does look